everybody, Leticia here, coming to you for another edition of my weekly Money Matters webinars. And as announced a bit earlier today, I have the pleasure of having as my guest today the lovely Sydney, also known as the Bitcoin Barbie. She's going to tell us all about why she chose that name and what that means to her. I had the pleasure of meeting Sydney through the crypto community in Playa del Carmen, and surprise, surprise, she's a fellow Canadian in search of more freedom. And so you know what? I got to talk a little bit about with Sydney, and she told me that essentially she helps coach people into the crypto space. And as you, my lovely audience, may know by now, the crypto space is something that I became increasingly interested in, and I'd like to continue educating myself in, because as I've come to believe, it is one of the potential keys to greater levels of financial freedom for ourselves, alternatives to the system that we've had up until now. So without further ado, welcome Sydney to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on today.
My pleasure. And just so you know, Sydney, I know there may be a few people tuning in live, but most people will be watching our show after the fact. It will remain live on my Facebook wall. If any of you are watching this on YouTube, I would appreciate your likes and subscribes. Okay, thank you all. So Sydney, thanks again for agreeing to join me and share a little bit of your insights. And I love the title we chose for the show, the Dream Life Building the Bitcoin Barbie Way. So first of all, I don't meet too many women who are in this space to begin with. So that in itself is awesome. And I'm happy to have a female guest who is, you know, a participant, an active participant, and even a mentor in the crypto space. How did you, how did you get started in this space, and how did you end up making it, you know, like your life's work, your life's mission?
So I started initially in the Forex and stock market. Initially, I started in the stock market. I was plugged in. I did a few of the cannabis stocks. I was lucky to get in a little early, pulled out at the right time, and I was sitting on a little money. So I wanted to move into something a little more fast-paced. So I got into Forex. And I initially started, actually, it's funny, way before that, back in about 2014, my girlfriend told me, hey, like, you know, you're always out here buying your designer this and that. And, you know, I was kind of like that kind of girl that just wanted all my fancy stuff. And she was like, you should buy this thing called Bitcoin. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it was like $50 at the time.
Wow.
So I missed out heavily. And then in my Forex platform I was using, I found that I was able to invest in Bitcoin as a CFD, or what's known as a contract for difference, meaning just trading on the price base as opposed to actual cryptocurrency. And so I had purchased in at about 300, and then I purchased in then I got out of my position at about $400. I was so excited. I was like, oh, I made $100. I bought back in about 600. It jumped to 1,200, which is 100% return, which was amazing. Mm-hmm. So I pulled out, and about 4 months later, it was about 18,000. So
everybody has a story like that. Everybody who's been in the crypto space long enough will have a story like that. It's like, oh, if I had only held on a huddle, you know? If I had only huddled a little more.
If I, at that time, I was kind of like, okay, wait, I really just missed something. Like, something is happening in this industry. So I started seeking mentors who were a little more versed in the space. I met up with my now partner of my company, Toshi Markets, and he really taught me quite a bit. And we just started going from there. And then, so I really got into it. My company, Toshi Markets, really focused on Forex, and I just saw the greater demand for crypto. And I just saw like how it was evolving, and coming to understand the financial system, our current financial system, or our traditional financial system.
Financial system.
And just really understanding like how bad it was and how the cycle worked really much so against the people. And I just, started throwing myself completely into crypto, and that was kind of how it all started.
Amazing. And since then, I guess the more you got into it, I guess you kept attracting people who were in need of help. So you're now, so first of all, tell me how the whole Bitcoin Barbie brand started. Like, what gave you the idea of that, if I may ask?
Well, me being a little bit of a Barbie girl, a little bit of a girly girl, and kind of liking all my little fancy, stuff, looking cute. I just thought, to myself, when I was little and I was growing up, like I played with Barbies all the time, and some people have like a sexual connotation to Barbie, which is quite often what people automatically think of. But people forget that, Barbie was a doctor, she was a vet, she was an astronaut, she was a glamorous movie star, she was a rock star, she was, the mom.
It could be anything.
She was everything, and she was
It could be anything. Yeah.
the most like everyone wanted to be Barbie, and it was just like, you know what? I just want to bring that like full powered, full woman, I can do it attitude to the crypto space. And, the Bitcoin Barbie really just flowed off tongue. So that's kind of how Bitcoin Barbie started.
I love it. Yeah. And I know, there are some haters out there. Like, well, there's some people that feel like, oh my gosh, like, why would you call herself a Barbie? Aren't Barbies? So you kind of offset that remark that some people may have, or that concept that, oh, you know what, isn't that like a bimbo? And well, he's like, guess what? You know what? You're more than a pretty face, and I think that when people speak to you, they'll realize that you own yourself in every way, and including your mind. Yes, you're a beautiful woman, and if you've got it, why not own it, right? So and in addition to that, like, yeah, I think it's a great brand. It kind of rolls off the tongue very nicely, and it's very memorable. And so tell us a little bit about how you started helping people in the space, like, and if somebody is new to the space, like, realistically, everybody's heard of crypto by now. Everybody knows that Bitcoin earlier this year pretty much skyrocketed. There's been a leveling off since then, but I mean, anybody who's in the space has full confidence that there's going to continue being a climb happening. And more Bitcoin is being seen as a store of value, as digital gold, really. So
the freedom, it gives you the opportunity to control your finances more than your average banking system.
Right.
I find that, I mean, for me to help people, essentially, I look at a few things. So I do consultation, and that's really, I do private consultations, I do group consultations. I really try and focus on the private, because I think that these are financial matters that we're dealing with. And I'm not a financial advisor, but I've been in the space long enough to understand at least the basics and more. But for your average person getting in who, your average person doesn't really understand how finances work to begin with. They don't really understand the financial market. So explaining to them how economics work and how the current economic system actually works against them, despite, savings accounts having a 2 to 3% annual interest.
That's a prime example. That's a prime example of how it works against us, right?
Right. When inflation is at 5%, we're actually losing money. So that to me, and then just even having to pull your money out of banks and dealing with the banks and all of that, and their control over your funds, to me is just really off-putting. Things like bank bail-ins were really off-putting to me. So bank bail-in, for those of you guys who don't know, is a legal form of robbery, really, if you ask me. The banks can actually now, at this time, since I believe it's about 2011 or 2013, legally in both the United States and Canada, and that's just what I know thus far, but I'm sure across Europe it's similar. If you have your money sitting in the bank, they can actually take your funds from the bank and pay off their debts. So back in 2008, 2009, we saw a lot of bank bailouts from the government, who came in with insurance companies, and the citizens were responsible for those bailouts. Well, when these banks are acting not in the favor of the people, and long or short of it, when there's a lot of stuffy guys in suits going on vacation with your hard-earned money, it's really hard to swallow that. So for me, it was just like, I need to show people what they can do in this industry, how they can earn a better interest on their actual cryptos, how to maneuver. I'm a trader, I'm a fund manager as well. So I do have some investors who will leave their funds with me that I'll grow their accounts for them. even down to just, for those people who don't want to get into trading necessarily, what coins are going to be long-term investments, which coins have proper utility. My favorite by far is Theta token. I'm constantly telling people about Theta token. That's my baby.
Why is that? I mean, it's not the number one pick that I hear other people mentioning. It is one of the popular ones, but tell me if, why do you feel that way, if I may ask?
Well, Theta token is a great example for those people who don't understand how crypto works. I mean, in the economic field, when we deal with fiat currency, that's based off a country's GDP, whereas a cryptocurrency is based off the functionality or the utility of that actual token or coin. So Theta token is almost like the easiest way to help somebody understand that utility process. And what Theta is actually a project that was created by the creators of YouTube, and they partnered up with a cryptography group who then essentially created a platform that you can stream just as we're doing here today. You can stream live on Theta. You can post videos on Theta. You can post whatever you want. It's uncensored. And instead of it going through the YouTube process of payouts, they actually offer you a subscription base. So if I have something called T-Fuel, which is the gas token, I can actually subscribe to your channel based off your subscription amount. I can just actually send you T-Fuel and it's automatically deposited into your wallet. Whereas YouTube actually holds on to about over $1 billion a year in unpaid revenues because most people do not have a corporation actually set up to receive said monetized value. So
Wow.
what they can't do, they can't legally pay out because there's no real setup of business, which most people in the entertainment industry, I don't want to say most people in the entertainment industry, most people who are streamers, unless you're very serious about it, a lot of people don't understand that you have to have a business behind it. So you have to have a business account behind it. So even for artists who are online who post songs, they don't know who's entitled to, what percentages. So a lot of stuff gets lost in translation before the legality is clear when it comes to YouTube. Whereas with Theta, it's literally just deposited right into your personal wallet, right on the Theta platform. And so that's kind of one aspect of it. But the utility aspect beyond that actually runs into the asset of bandwidth, which most people don't realize is an asset.
Right.
So think, when you're using your phone and you have a certain amount of gigabytes to use every month, if you go over, you have to purchase more bandwidth. Now, why people don't see that as an asset is mostly because you can't physically hold it, see it in your hands. But at the end of the day, bandwidth and that power to actually connect to the internet is a asset, right? So Theta also has an option where I can actually connect my computer with my bandwidth streaming inwards. So if you were to upload a video, you could actually utilize my bandwidth, and I'm paid out in what we call T-Fuel in order to help you facilitate your upload. So we use my excess bandwidth in order to upload your video. So I'm actually selling my bandwidth into the system.
Whoa! Wow, that's fascinating. Now, would that presuppose that these users are connected to some sort of a common network, like?
Yeah, so they have something called an edge node or a master node. And so in the edge node and the master node, it just, I'm not a computer scientist, so I don't really know how they're the back end of it. But from what I gather, basically they utilize your bandwidth. So for me, I think I have like unlimited bandwidth. I probably use maybe 300 gigabytes a month, where I believe I actually have access to about 500. But what happens to that 500 at the end of the month? Or sorry,
you lose it.
100. You lose it. Next month, you have to pay your bill still, and you have to start over again. So it's kind of an eye-opener as well to see how much of this bandwidth and this power that the telecommunications companies are holding on to and still selling it, right? So, yeah.
So this is another example of how, in this case, this particular crypto, is Theta a token, or is it considered a coin already?
It's a token,
Okay.
and they have, so the subsidiary token of it is called T-Fuel, and T-Fuel is also what you use on the platform, whereas Theta is almost like investing in the platform itself.
Got it. Got it. So interesting. Yeah, you gave a good example of the utility of crypto. Like this is a sample of what crypto can do for you that this technology was not available previously,
Yes.
right? So interesting. Now, I mean, I'm not sure how many people would actually take advantage of that. I think there's like we are literally part of the mainstreamization of crypto, and I think this is going to be I'm guessing at least a generation ahead of us. I mean, we're literally at the leading edge, and I think a lot of people starting out are still kind of intimidated about what they can do in the space. I mean, most people have learned, oh well, you can have a wallet, you can start buying some crypto, but beyond that, there's a lot more out there to learn about. Now, you mentioned trading. Is that something you also can help your clients with? Maybe they don't have the time, they don't the know how to start trading themselves, but they want to participate in the space. Is that something that you also may be able to assist with?
Yes, absolutely. So between myself on a personal note, I do teach people how to analyze the charts, how to go in and look at key components. I teach them stuff like support and resistance, how to get into a trade, how to even use the platforms for trading. So there's a few different styles of trading that I do teach, and it really depends. I really come to my clients and ask them, what is your budget? What is your time frame like? What is your experience like? Have you ever traded before? Have you been a day trader before? Are you in this for the long term or the short term? Because for myself, I have several accounts that I work off of. One being my long-term account, which is more of an arbitrage trading, meaning I buy low, sell high, rinse and repeat. And on my futures platform, I can take a buy position and ride up the price, or I can take a sell position as the price is dropping and still profit. So there's multiple ways in this industry, in the trading aspect, that you can actually profit, which a lot of people are like, oh, crypto's down right now. Well, if you've been taking short positions this whole time, you're still gaining.
You're smiling, you're laughing. No, I mean, that's fascinating. I keep wanting to call you Barbie, but your name is Sydney. So you know what advice would you have for people who are still, they've been wanting to get in the space, but they haven't gotten into the space yet? Um, you know, first of all, how could you help somebody who's in that position? What would you suggest for them? And then, in addition to that, what what advice do you have for beginners in this space, which there are still a lot of?
Yeah, definitely. I find that my biggest thing is, first of all, you don't need thousands of dollars to do this. And actually, kind of going back to Theta Token, I put $100 into Theta Token last June, and it was at about 27 cents when I got in. And in, I believe, the end of February, beginning of March, Theta Token actually went up to about $16. So I took $100 to about $7,500 in the span of just roughly over 8 months. And that wasn't even me in and out, in and out. That was just me holding it. So the potential for growth is exponential. And I mean, Theta Token has taken a dip in this bear market, which, for those of you guys who don't know what a bear market means, it means a market that's falling. A bull market is when prices are increasing. They fluctuate quite frequently, so we may be in a bear market currently, but we will eventually flow back into a bull market. But I mean, I find that these are the times right now for those of the people who are brand new. You're in a bull market and we have such momentum going, and this is the real time right now. The last maybe 5 years ago, it was still very speculative, but at this time we have quite a bit of institutions who are buying in, trying to get their feet in and dig in control. And right now, institutions are actually the ones who are pushing the price down so that they can purchase more because they have more purchase power. So take advantage of these times where crypto's low, where everyone's panicking, and we say buy the dip, and there's no joke about that. Buy the dip, because we will not see, even in this, even in the lowest point that we've been this year. I mean, last year in March, crypto was like one Bitcoin was like just under $5,000, and we're still sitting in that 30 zone. I do expect over the next couple weeks, we may see another dip, and some people are speculating to about 12 to 15,000, which seems like an immense dip. But if you bought last year in March, you're still up 300%. So you really have to look at the overall numbers in terms of the percentages as opposed to the actual physical dollars, and understand that also we have to get out of the mindset of looking at the dollar value, because eventually we are going to start thinking of things in the value of Bitcoin and how much a Bitcoin costs. For those of you guys who don't know, also, you don't need to buy one full Bitcoin. You can buy portions of Bitcoins, and those are called Satoshis. So there's about 100 million Satoshis to one Bitcoin. So just so you guys know, if you only have, let's say $100, you right now would be able to buy about 30,000 about 300,000 Satoshis. So it's really, I mean, the way I look at it is in the next 10 years, if, Bitcoin goes to 1 million, which I strongly believe in, I'm not going to lie. Some people might say I'm crazy for this, but I don't hold fiat currency anymore. I only hold cryptocurrency. I don't keep money in my bank anymore until it's time to pay bills, until it's time to get into the fiat world. Then I will liquidate, which is a lot easier than most people think as well. I have I should have brought it with me, but or down here, but I actually have a crypto.com Visa, which allows me to just swipe anywhere, and I can liquidate my current assets immediately just in any store. If I pay for my lunch, if I pay for my groceries, I can just swipe my Visa and I'm good.
Amazing.
So the liquidity value is there. You can liquidate quite easily. You can come in and out at your own pleasure, but we're hodling over here as much as we can.
Amazing. And the other final question is, I know you've shared a few times on the group that you are a liquidity provider. Some people may not even know what that means. Would you care to explain that for our audience? Like, what is when we're talking about crypto, what is a liquidity provider?
So I work with the biggest liquidity providers in the world. They are basically, what that means is that I can supply almost any amount of cryptocurrency because I happen to work with the biggest liquidity provider in the world. I mean, we can push over 2,500 coins a day, and that's, we're talking about $1 to $100 billion.
Wow.
I haven't done one of those deals yet. And I say yet because I look forward to closing one. But it really gives the best price in order to purchase. It's a secure location because we are registered, licensed, and regulated in the States. We use crypto-friendly banks, so there should be no issue in terms of wiring in. And yeah, we just have a consistent flow. So a lot of people will go to like maybe a P2P or a peer-to-peer network and look for a substantial amount of crypto. Well, they may be able to find it one time from some person, but that person may not consistently have that flow. And there's so much, and it's unfortunate to say because I don't like to push this ideology, but the truth is there are a lot of scammers in this industry. And so that's a huge problem for us that we need to make sure that people are secure in their transactions, right? And so that's kind of what I do in a nutshell. I minimum 25K to really, like I said, we can run anything upwards of 100 million. Yeah,
that's amazing. I probably have somebody to introduce you to, but we'll talk offline.
Sure.
That's really great to know, Sydney. So listen, I've committed to making our webinars a little shorter because I don't think people want to sit in front of their computer for an hour and watch us, even though you're gorgeous and so am I. I'm not just kidding. Oh my God, I'm just like so shameless. Anyway, thank you, thank you, Sydney, for joining us today. Tell people what is the best way to reach you.
It made sense. Instagram.
Instagram. So the Bitcoin Barbie. And by the way, there are some other people who are attempting to use the name, but you've got the most followers and you've got the strongest brand, and you're the one with the big Bitcoin pink, the big Bitcoin pink. Okay, that's our girl. And you were telling us that in terms of your consultations, because you've had a number of people approaching you about that, you're going to be changing your rates at the end of this month. Do you want to mention that on the call, or is that something they should?
No, we can just quickly. As of August 1st, unfortunately, just because of the high demand and the influx of clientele, there's only one of me, so I do have to charge a little bit more. I do feel like my value at this point has been proven. So I'm going from 50 US to 100 US as of August 1st. That's per session. Each session, like I said, we find out initially before we even hop on a call, what's your budget? What are you looking to obtain from this industry? Are you a long-term or short-term investor? What is your experience level? Really what I'm going to be delving into in that call. And they run about an hour. I'm not really sticky on time because I really prefer that my clients have a good grasp of what I'm teaching them. I don't just want to run through a whole bunch of information and have someone kind of like, did I understand that? I really want to make sure that my clients understand everything that I'm teaching them that day. So that's kind of what I do. And then with Toshi Markets, we have a trading platform as well that we do like signals. We have online webinars as well. And we have like a back end office where you can learn basically everything to do with trading, not just crypto, but also Forex. So that subscription on its own is about $100 a month. And so you're able to just go in and you're plugged into a group of specialists besides myself who have been in the financial markets for, between our team of 4, there's about 45 plus years of experience, including some Wall Street experience. So we're quite plugged, and I'm happy to be part of such a great team that can provide all this information because, again, like I said to you before, it's really important that we all learn about our finances, how they work, and how to control them. And this crypto world is the way for you to have absolute control over your financial freedom, really.
I love it. Thank you. I really appreciate what you do and that you're an advocate for financial freedom, financial empowerment for all, and especially in this new world of money that we're literally moving into. Thanks so much, Sydney, again for being my guest today. I'm really happy to have had the pleasure of meeting you in person, and I look forward to continuing in touch and perhaps having you as a repeat in the future. And thanks. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks everyone for watching. Look forward to seeing you again on future editions of Money Matters. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye, everybody. Cheers.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.